pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Singh. Here. Snyder. Here. Portella. Here. Troop. Ister.
Need a motion to accept the approval of the minutes. One's in yellow, one's orange.
We have the ones in yellow. I forgot to put the minute dates on there, but it's May, June, and all 5 meetings.
Is there a chance we can start getting the minutes for the meeting after the last meeting?
Well, there is, but I was behind because of other things. Normally, they're not that late.
I'll make that one. Need a second?
Second.
Portella.
No.
Troop.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Singh.
Yes.
Snyder.
Anybody in the audience have any specific comments on any of the agendas? There's not much on the agenda.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, sir. Ron?
Reading over your, on the back part there under the enforcement, both under I and then under 53 enforcement, one suggestion that I would recommend to you is to add the fire chiefs onto there, because it may not be a code office and it may not be a police issue, but there may be a call for an outside burning of some type, and the fire department shows up, and the chief should have the ability to tell somebody to put fire out.
Right, and I think when we get to that, we'll talk about it somewhat, because that was in the original. We just weren't sure how. Is it every fire department? Is it just the chief? You know, so, but we have time between the first reading and the second reading to address that.
Well,
Thank you.
okay, yeah, right, yep. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, somebody hear us all right?
Yep. All right, just a reminder that this week is River Festival, so I expect to see everyone there. It begins with Valley's Got Talent on Thursday the 15th at 7 p.m. at the Shigolini High School. Also new this year, we have the Lake Augusta Wine and Brew Festival, which will be September 21st, and Megan will give you a few more details here in a second. We've also recently submitted a Bear Paint grant, which would give us 20 gallons of paint to paint the custom metal coatings building. So we're waiting to hear back about that. We also submitted our NPP tax credit program, so we're waiting to hear back about that grant as well. And we are still waiting to hear back about the 1200 block of Market Street. However, the final piece should be resting on your desk, Mayor Dave. We just need a letter of support saying that you support the shrinking of the project to meet our new budget requirements. So if you would consider that, it would be greatly appreciated. And then Megan has a few more updates for you.
Again, on the Neighborhood Partnership Program, that application is at DCED, and we hope to hear a response by the end of the month. We did receive a letter of support from Senator Gordner's office, and the zoning hearing regarding that is tomorrow afternoon. We are still looking for a third partner for that program, that tax credit program, over this month, and hoping to hear back very soon on that. The Lake Augusta Wine and Beer Festival, September 21st, 2 to 6 p.m. on the riverfront. Tickets are on sale now at Brewers Outlet, so anybody who would like to pick those up, they can go there. They are $25 a piece, and we already have 214 likes on Facebook, and we really haven't publicized it all, so I think that this is, we're going to have some good attendance at that event, is our expectation. Zach from our office should have brought up a open container lifting request to you, so I'm hoping you might be able to review that this evening and see if that would be acceptable. Do you have any other questions for us this time?
I believe so. You're all ready for the River Fest. We just have to keep our fingers crossed for good weather.
It's supposed to be good weather.
Thank you very much. Redevelopment Authority, this past week, we sold 2 more properties. They were vacant properties, just pieces of ground. There wasn't any homes on them. We're looking at probably the second week of September. We'll be getting a list together. The Redevelopment Authority meets this Thursday, so it'll be another meeting, and we'll see what's going to be on that list. But we should be announcing something in the next week or two and advertise it, like I say, for sale or another auction on the second. I'm going to say the second week of September, probably because of the holiday, the first week. that's moving quite along, and also you'll see some updates, because I know they have it, I know Cheryl's working on it there with the website. We want to get that website where everybody sitting here can sit up and look at the properties we're working on, and that way, if we miss one, then you can come in here and tell us, or give us a call or something, so we can try to keep that updated. You know, it's clearly, I think this is a great program we have, and it's making a big impact in the city, and we want to keep it moving forward, so. And chances are, that, you know, there's some people don't understand why some things aren't happening, and, you know, like I say, we've said this before, we own some of them, we don't own some of them, banks own them, mortgage companies own them, you know, everybody is in on that, but there's no question about it, there's people fixing up their properties that wouldn't have if had we not been doing what we're doing, so. It's just a win-win in all the neighborhoods, I believe. Everybody seems happy everywhere we go to sell them. We've had, the first time we did this, we never had one person that showed up, and now at the one at 7th Street, we had 13 people, so, you know, that means that people are looking to invest in our community. That's clearly what it's all about. If we can take those properties we're making nothing off right now and get some buildings put on them and turn around and, you know, get a little tax income for us, the school district and the county, and it's, plus, again, fix up a bad area of a neighborhood to help everybody's property values go up. So we'll keep reporting that, and we'll, like I said, the next meeting, we should probably be able to tell you what's the next properties that are going up for sale. Unfinished business, open bids, police pistols and ammunition. I think everybody has a big tabulation sheet in your packet. We bid this by the items, so we have lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, and I don't have one thing what they are, but we'll,
We didn't get any bids for lot 4. One is the 15 Glock pistols. 2 is the 2 cases of Winchester ammo, a couple other different kinds of ammo. 3 is 40 Smith & Wesson caliber ammunition, federal brand. A couple other things in there. And 4 is the training conversion units for the Glocks. That's the one we didn't get any bids on. So we got 2 for lot 1, 2 for lot 2, and 1 for lot 3.
okay, we have one bid, first bid on, this is lot 1 now, which is the pistol. We have one bid with the amount of 15 Glock pistols, model 23 with night sights of $5,000. That is from the SPOA, which is our city policeman. And the other bid that we have is from Whitmer Public Safety Group, Chalk Hill, Pennsylvania. Oh, that's per unit, okay. And that is $4,590.
Okay, there's much to them.
It was one sentence, I
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah, it was too complicated. Okay, lot 2 is the ammo. We have 2 of those. The first bid is from, this says Mark Savage, Hamilton, New Jersey, $586. Chris Savage.
The reserve on that was $560.
The other bid from the Chalk Hill person, $566. Is at Whitmer Public Safety. Same one sentence?
Yes. John, couldn't you have done a 20-page document for this?
So lot 3 would be ammunition purchase bid, and that is from that Whitmer Public Safety Group again, $1,140.
Is there a reserve on that, Dave?
Yep. 1,600.
How much, 16? What was the reserve on the pistols originally? 45.
4275. That's the only one that's not over.
Okay, well then 3 did not hit the reserve. And we can look at that later, but I'll make a motion that we award, and this is all based on Michael's review and to make sure, because these are guns, has to be handled the proper way, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you how that is, because I don't know myself.
Dave, I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
We're short on the 40 caliber, am I correct? Said the 1,600 something?
Well, was that 750 and then the other stuff was 850, or was it 850 for the?
I thought the whole thing was 850, because that was only
Yeah, I
200
think I read it
case.
wrong. I think the whole thing is
Yeah.
850, so it is over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that should
took
be
that.
okay for the 40 caliber.
For the 3.
Yeah.
See, I'm trying to separate 2 and 3. 2 was 2 cases of .308 Winchester ammunition, and 3 is 40 S&W
It's
caliber.
it's almost 4 cases of pistol ammo, that's what it is.
All right, but it's clearly 2 different types of ammunition.
So the whole, this lot was 850.
So the minimum was 850 on lot 3, so I did.
I think the back bidding is going to cost us more than.
Yeah.
Okay, so my motion is that we accept, I needed 4,500 to make the line item, so we were over that. My motion is that we accept the high bid and all this, which is 5,000 for lot 1, 586 for lot 2, and 1140 for lot 3, based on Michael's review and the fact that it has to be handled properly. If there's any issues that you can't handle it properly, then we'll just bring it back and be good. And you second?
Second.
Troop,
Yes.
Ister, Persing,
Yes.
Snyder,
Yes.
Martello,
Yes.
Okay, in everybody's packet, everybody's aware we had a meeting, I don't know, I guess it's been about a month ago or something, we had a public meeting here, and we had pros and cons of different things. We've been talking about this for 6 months, and what you have in front of you, and I don't know if anybody in the public has seen it. Okay. And pretty much what it is that the open part of our ordinance is that we don't have, that don't cover, and we already have all the things covered as far as rubbish and burning, your newspapers and things like that you can't do. But this is, pretty much we copied this off of Washington Township. And what this pretty much does is to me, the bottom line is it allows the police department and allows the police department and the code enforcement office, and if we can figure out a way to get the fire chief or the fire chiefs involved in it, that we might make a change in that before we had the second reading. But the bottom line is the nuisance shall mean excessive odor, emission, or event that prevent the reasonable use and enjoyment of one's property. So all we're doing is putting something in our ordinances that gives a little bit of an outline here, allows everybody to know who's enforcing what, and stay within the realms of not affecting 100 people, or 1,000 people. I guess it seems to me that I get more phone calls over this than anything in a long time. So there's a lot of people out there that have, and we've had 2 issues that came in front of council, and sometimes I think one of them is just, we're never going to solve all the neighbor problems, and sometimes you get 2 neighbors, there's nothing anybody's going to do about it. So, does anybody have any questions about this, what's in front of you, or changes?
Is this completely replacing the current 53, or is this just an add-on to what is in 53 now? So it's not, are we going to number it? I'm just wondering what number it's going to be. We got 53-1.
Right, no, it has to be renumbered.
Okay, but everything that's in the ordinance now is going to stay?
There is nothing about this in our ordinance. That's why
but
53 will stay, yeah, this doesn't affect, she just didn't know where to put the number. And again, that's housekeeping we can take care of for the second reading. This is just to get it off the ground the first reading.
Under 53, open burning regulations, Part D, where it says 10 feet away from any structure or combustible exterior wall, I think it should be any combustible material. Any combustible materials, whether it's, no matter what it is, it should be 10 feet away from that.
Under D,
Yeah.
fires must be kept at least 10 feet from any structure or combustible exterior wall.
Or we can add on or combustible materials, you know, like a stack of firewood or whatever, or the garbage cans. Or somebody's vehicle.
Anybody, you really agree with that?
Questions?
So we're just adding combustible material.
Yeah, or you could have combustible exterior wall for materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just add
For materials.
I have one question. Yeah, I'm missing something. But this outdoor fire pit, what exactly is that?
You know, I was up to a house at the end of Line Street, at the very top. It's a big brick house, it sits up there, and in the back, they have a brick patio.
Okay,
That, when this person bought the house, like 4 or 5 years ago, she moved to Sunbury and bought the house, and in the back corner of that patio, there's a, she called it a pit. I don't know if you want to call it a fire chimney or.
Barbecue pit.
Barbecue pit, I guess would be what they call it. But anyway, it matches the house, and everything, and they've used it since the day they bought it. So to me, that's what
Well,
it
where
is.
is that defined under?
does that mean these little things you can buy for your patio? Like Kohl's Hardware or?
I know, right here it says, the outdoor fireplace, outdoor fire pit shall be as defined by the manufacturer of approving containers for open burning.
I'm saying as far as the outdoor one in the backyard, just doing it out of stone, that's not made by the manufacturer, or any approved anything, so does that still fall under there, or should we add that as part of the definition, so it's not a question down the road? At
I guess
least
to the
add-
point where we'll be defining,
Yeah.
the bottom line is common sense.
Well, I'm just, yeah, well, I
That's
mean,
why
that's
the
where we
base-
thought this was gonna be too, but it ends up being gray areas, like in the under enforcement. When you leave it up to the code office or whatever to make the determination, that's awfully gray. That means I can say he doesn't get to burn and that guy does, because I'm the code guy, so.
No, that's not the issue. The issue
Well,
is,
that's what it leaves open.
you got a
I'm not
smoke
saying
pit
it's
in his
open.
backyard, and over here, this guy's standing on his back porch smoking a cigar or something, you know what I mean? There's issues. So clearly, the police department gets called, the code office gets called, they show up, if they see a lot of excessive smoke that's affecting things, then they have the right to shut it down. That's why you're never gonna define, I have to agree with what Jim said, you're never gonna define every little thing you're gonna put there. But clearly, the issue is not the new things, it's what's sitting on people's property now. And if it's further, if it's at least 10 feet away from the structure.
I mean,
This
if that's
just
what
gives
we're
you
trying to
something.
do, we can add that to the exception of the other ordinance, just add, under exceptions, we can just put what you have in there for definitions, as far as outdoor chimney is, and all those things, we just add the exceptions, and then we wouldn't have to read it 3 times, we could just do a resolution.
Well, I guess you should have wrote that and brought it along.
I said that at the last meeting, when we
It
had
has
the
to be,
meeting of pros and
it
cons,
can't be a
but
resolution.
I didn't even know you were bringing this to the meeting.
But we have an ordinance already, all we're doing is adding this part to the ordinance. And again, we can, when Alex, or Jerome brought up earlier is an issue, and if you see on the back, we had that there, possible discussion on fire advisory, source of fire suppression, you know, so there's other things to think about, and we can change it. The question is, do you want to pass something tonight to get this going and then add something, or do you
Well,
want
we
to?
should pass this evening, everybody out here has a copy, study until next meeting, we'll bring any issues up, we'll discuss it next council meeting.
It won't come into effect until 15 days after we pass it on the second reading, so we got lots of time.
In terms of containers, traditionally you're using metal, right, stone, or brick. And those are traditionally accepted materials for fire containers.
But we're not addressing the homemade.
Well, it doesn't say you can't have a homemade one, as long as it's covered with, as long as it's covered by mesh, and as long as it doesn't, right now, as far as the police department and code office, isn't creating a nuisance.
So a burn barrel then is covered with that.
Well, a burn barrel, you can't burn rubbish or anything, a burn barrel, who would have a burn barrel if you're just gonna burn a piece of wood?
Who's gonna say what the actions are?
Dave, Gene has a question, Dave.
I'm sorry. Yes,
10 feet from any structure, I think that's reasonable, but what about combustible materials?
That's where I got in there, Gene.
Huh?
that's what Joe, that's what we had to do.
I'm saying, but is 10 feet far enough? What I'm saying is, 10 feet from a structure might be far enough, but what about combustible, say, a lawnmower, gas can? You know, it doesn't take much of a spark to ignite that, and once that's ignited, then you got a problem. From a structure itself, probably isn't as bad, but anything that's combustible,
But here's the thing, Gene, that lawnmower might not be sitting there one day out of the year. So, as far as enforcement of it, But, you know, the code officer could be up there 55 times and say there's nothing wrong with it, well, the guy cuts his grass and leaves his lawn, but I agree with what you're saying, but it's an unenforceable issue. You know, I mean, if he does leave the lawnmower there, you could call the police department and they could run up and tell the guy has to move his lawnmower. But, you know, I guess you're getting back into common sense. You wouldn't think a guy would park his lawnmower, I don't park my lawnmower next to my barbecue grill, so I sure wouldn't park it next to it, but people do think weird things. But to regulate that, you have to think of what's permanent. Permanently, the guy could say, you can't have it sitting there because right there's the wall. You're 6 feet away from the wall, you can't do that. That's pretty enforceable. Nobody's gonna keep moving that around once you get it there. So this at least gives us.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, you have some pretty small yards. Like, you know, for instance, the one that's next to me, he doesn't have much of a yard at all. He's got garbage cans, lawn mowers, you know, garbage, dry brush, wood, whatever, I mean, it just throw there, you know, everything just throw in the yard, so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he's limited to where he can put it. I mean, it's not entirely his fault, but like you say, common sense, some people just don't register, you know?
Then the other alternative is.
And I hate to see someone,
Pay your $50, whatever it is, one time, and that allows your property, you to have it, and you get a safety list that you have to go over in order to get your permit. And then at least it forces those people to come and get the information and read it in front of you one time, sign off, and I got my permit. As far as someone who uses these types of things, I'd be happy to come in, and I think most people would, to say, hey, look, I'm safety qualified, at least in terms of the city's eyes, I've read your information, I'm willing to abide by it, here's my $20 for the residents, and I'm done.
as
If
a
your
permit,
concern is
as a
about having
permit,
properties like that be excluded, that at least forces you into compliance.
have we been thinking about a permit to go
It
along with
was, it was
this?
in some things, I personally, I don't think it's enforceable, I don't know who's gonna do it, we don't have enough time to do in our code office, and sure, your police department does, that's why I'm not, I agree with what could happen, but I can't see it, to me, it's gonna be like bicycle licenses, you know, it's gonna be something we're gonna start, but 2 years from now, nobody's gonna buy it, you know, and we don't have anybody to enforce them, so yes, it was talked about at the meeting, and it was, we've all had to talk about it.
But you made a good point, but we should also add non-combustible wall, or combustible exterior walls, materials, and also lot line. Like, you should be 10 feet away from your neighbor's property if you're gonna be doing this, doing that.
No, there's only one problem, Joe. It takes half the people out of the city of Sunbury.
It does.
Well, why doesn't, the neighbor should have the right to put something along his fence if he wants to, but if that's within 10 feet of that guy's fire pit, then you're restricting his use of his property.
We're back to common sense. Because a lot of properties, I think you're
Well,
talking
we have
20
common
feet.
sense, we would need this, that's the whole.
Terry did send us included.
Yeah, that was something I
Well, what do you want to do, guys? This is done tonight to open it up to get a first vote. If you want, we can debate, we can go back and do it again. We don't have to pass anything tonight. You don't want to do it, you want to pass it once tonight? Get it off the ground?
I think you're right in getting the ball rolling, and it's a good start. And all the rest of the things we've talked about are small refinements that can be made over the next couple of meetings.
At least this way, we're, like, talks to get things going, to address these issues for Gene and so forth. One we can work on next meeting.
What do you have to say back there, Jerome? Well, just two things. Number one, I think if you look at what Dale and I presented, as far as the manufacturer or the definition of the pits, that will meet your definition and that'll clear up a lot of things. Because one of the things that you have to be concerned about is if a bricklayer comes in, like a lawn landscaper type organization comes in and builds something for you, is that manufactured? Or is that a custom built? So then you get into that gray area again. I think that's why the way we wrote it, it covers all that. That's number one. Number two, about the 10 feet portion of this with the diameters. If you look and see how we wrote that up in there, that covers many of the things that people are talking about now. So they would be two things that I suggest that you pass something tonight to get the ball moving, and then look at those, and if you want to change it for those definitions, then you do it that way. I think it'll make a lot more sense.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have something to thought. If you take the city of Sunbury, a lot of the homes are built right next to one another. You realize if you pass an ordinance where it's 10 feet, most people can't have a fire pit in your yard. Because most of your yards aren't 20 feet wide.
Very good.
Mine is 13 feet wide. My brother's is 13 feet wide. Our tenant's is 14 feet wide. Where would you put a fire pit in any of those yards? You can't.
If they're 100 feet long, you put it in the back, who's it gonna be close to in the back?
Still too close to the property line.
Side property.
Still too close to the side properties.
So why don't we follow the side yard setbacks currently in place in our ordinances?
I mean, it's just a thought, because of the way
I thought we
houses
were
are
talking
built.
about structures, or 10 feet from a structure, if you have no, if there's no
Structure,
structure.
property line structure.
That
So
doesn't mean
there's
there's a
something
property
there
line.
about property
So then
line.
which one
We
takes,
talked
Makes
about
sense.
property line.
so which one takes precedence then, so then must have put a shed?
I think in the end, you ultimately end up having to abide by the gentleman's recommendations in the back, which I think are quite in line, and that you have to protect the perimeter, period. And even though that's going to automatically exclude some people, the bottom line is you pick properties every day based on their proximity to grocery stores and their distance from it and everything else. You don't always get everything on your property based on what you pick. So if you have a large enough yard that can accommodate it, and it fits within the ordinance, you're fine. If you have a small yard, you're out of luck. It's as simple as that. You can't continue to try to make adjustments. And the bottom line is you gotta protect that perimeter for the person who down the line wants to add that shed or they wanna put something in. Yeah, I think their property takes precedent over a fire.
But if some guy has a patio built in the back of his patio, and the guy decides 10 years later, the neighbor wants to build a garage, you can't tell the guy to tear down his patio.
Well, his fire pit, he'd have to move it.
It's grandfathered.
I mean, for anything that's existing, that's, I
Yeah, it'd be
think,
great.
that's in there, like you said, you're right. For someone that's already paid and already has it in, and it's a different story. But I don't think we probably have too many of those.
Yes, sir.
This fire pit it's gonna be through a regulation type setup, right? So somebody just can't put a couple cinder blocks around and start a fire in the middle of it, right?
Right.
Okay, so that, you know what I mean? That you have something that somebody says, well, here, I can just throw this on my lawn here and then have a fire pit right here, you know?
But I think we're forgetting we don't have a big rash of people building fire pits,
Right,
that's not our
right, but-
issue. Right.
But I'm just saying that, you know, you have that in there to cover that it's not, you know, it has to be something that is, you know, fire safe.
Yes. Dale, do you have your hand up?
Oh, I did. One thing I'd like to echo what Todd said, yeah, I think you need a permit process in there. It specifically says the do's and don'ts, what happens. Because right now, I don't think it's enforceable. I mean, somebody can tell you to come do something, you can tell them to piss up a rope, and I say, show me where I can't do this. That's why you need the permit process with Acton. And if the police officers have to go out and make an arrest, and they think it's trivial, but they have to do their job, oh well, I guess it sucks to be them. Two, when Jerome was talking about the fire chief part, I don't think we want to authorize the whole fire department to be making decisions, thus the chief or his staff.
And that's what I said earlier, that's what we need to
Yeah.
talk about. Because we originally had the fire chief down, we thought, well, maybe we'd have one from each department or each,
No,
company.
this is the chief or staff, that's it.
Period.
You don't want no line item guy going up there, or line item, or line officer.
Yeah, we don't want the next door neighbor who, belongs to the
Right.
Eastern Fire Company to
Correct.
decide he
That's
would
why
make
you
that
make,
decision.
because
That's right.
if there's a dispatch with the fire chief, the police get called to it anyway. Yeah, the ones that are sworn in here and under the mayor's.
Right, yep.
Yeah, under 53-2, it spells it out pretty well too. Chief of police, fire chief, health officer, safety officer, or other duly authorized agent of the city.
Under open burning, we've got a lot of tiki torches and stuff like that have no, they don't have any regulation here, do they? They're wood. It may be another issue, but it's open fire there, which is combustible there too. Maybe I'll add that something in there
So is a
too.
mosquito candle, and so is a
Yeah.
little, you know.
But I'm talking about
shit
oil,
candle, you know,
huh?
And that's oil too.
Right.
I mean, you get these little, what do you, I call them shit candles, that burn oil too, to keep mosquitoes.
What are you talking about, you know,
So it's still an oil thing, I mean, that's a total
I
different.
want to make a motion, the first reading, as it says right now, we have 2 weeks to get their act together, make modifications. Need a second.
I'll second it. I think we got a good base here.
Yeah, we're done.
Ister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello?
No.
Troop?
Yes.
If you don't mind doing that for the next meeting, because there is a penalty.
Yes, I will. That'll be for September.
Okay, new business, resolution in your pack is a resolution that was sent to us by Conrad Siegel, our actuarial, for a pension. This is just housekeeping, it has to be passed. Resolution City of Sunbury adopting the market value of assets of the value of the assets of part of the actuarial evaluation for the City of Sunbury Police Pension Fund desires the use of market value as the actuarial value of assets effective January 1st, 2013. I believe we pass something, I guess, every 2 years. So I have that in front of you to pass. I need a second.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Ister?
I don't think we forgot to put on here, but the resolution for the Wine and Beer Festival. Jim, do you have that?
Yes, on September the 21st, like just as mentioned, we're having a wine brew festival on the river, for the first one. I hope many to come afterwards. I'm looking at the time. I guess the time isn't on here. Anyhow, I need 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
2 to 6. Thank you. I'm going to make that formal motion to allow open container requirement on the river.
I'll second.
Thank
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Ister?
you.
Persing?
Yes. Barb approval.
Yes, 51 South 4th Street here in Sunbury. It's replace front ramp steps, side fire escape, both new. Zoning hearing will approve it on July 24th, 2013. I make a motion to accept the approval.
What's the address again on that?
51 South 4th.
The old Big Pen Insurance Building.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Just to add to that, Mayor, the zoning, it went before zoning, it was approved by zoning board also.
Is there a second?
You second? Bartello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
Ister? Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Approve the pay invoices, Todd.
Oh, yes, tonight, looking for approval to pay outstanding payables in the amount of $302,445.65 from the general fund. Noting there's some large insurance payments in this time, and also $165,000 payment for supplies and materials pertaining to the city construction project. And then also a motion for $5,062.30 from the liquid fuels account.
Second.
Thank you.
Troop?
Yes.
Ister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello?
Yes.
Tax exoneration, Todd.
Traditional report included in your packets. Looking to make the motion that we accept the requests as noted by the individuals shown for the amounts.
Second.
Thank you.
Ister?
Yes.
Persing?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Bartello?
Yes.
Troop?
Yes.
The Phase 2 Market Street. There's something to act on there.
Just the letter. I just need you to sign the letter that says that you approve the shrinking of the project area to meet budget requirements.
Project length was decreased because of the budget. The funding should be coming in with
$250,000 from DCED and $50,000